So, the idea behind this video is to give you a really entry-level view on Power BI and sort of how to build a Power BI report, connect to some data, really from an absolute novice sort of point of view. Now, a lot of the tutorials and stuff that I found online, they start and they seem to have, there's an expectation of a certain amount of knowledge. I'm moving away from that. I want to sort of treat it as if you've managed to turn a computer on and this is like the second or third thing that you're going to try and do. So to download the Power BI application, what you'll need to do, so I've just Google searched Power BI desktop app. This top section's an advert. You can see the little ad just if you're not aware of what those are. So here we've got download Power BI desktop, and it'll bring up this page and these links. Now, some of these I'll cover in different videos. I'm still learning about Power BI. I don't consider myself an expert. For the purposes of this, we're going to click on download, opening the Microsoft Store. Now, my computer isn't the fastest computer in the world, which because I'm running screen recording software as well, it's not ideal, but it'll give you a true reflection of how all this works. So once the store window opens, it'll say get instead of wish list or launch, and that's going to download the app. So once the desktop application opens, it will look like this. This is Louis. If you hear noises in the background, it'll be Louis. He's trouble. So and again, I'll apologise now because I waffle a lot of crap. I'm bad for it. So this is the second time this has done it, so I apologise, but it is opened on my other screen. So I'm just going to quickly switch screens just so you can see what's appeared. So when you first open Power BI, this is what you get. Now, because I've used it in the past, there's a few things here that you won't see. But this is basically what you'll get. We're not interested in any of this right now. I'm not going to go through any of the tutorials, any of that sort of stuff. Not interested in this. So again, I want to treat this as there's no sign-ins, there's no costs. You are literally, this is free. You can play around with this. You can get your nan to watch this and go through the process of creating a Power BI. So we now have the Power BI application open. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to save it in a folder. So I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Tutorial 1. And this is going to be Power BI 1. There we go, bosh. So at the top you can see we've saved it. The next thing we want is we want a data set. Now I haven't got Excel installed on this computer. Again, Excel costs money. I don't want to sort of do anything that's going to cost money. So for the purpose of this, I've found this CSV file thing online. If you've got an Excel you want to use or any other data set, that's fine. But for now we're going to do this free CSV. And I'm going to put some data in. So again, I want to treat this as you write it from scratch. There's no preconceptions, there's no assumptions made about your technical knowledge. We've basically gone in and I can show you how to do this in just a normal text document. So we're going to do this on crisps. And we're doing salt and vinegar. Again, for you hardcore technical people, even though this is a data set, I'm not doing any sort of primary keys or anything like that. We're keeping it simple. This is basically how we're going to get some information pulled into the Power BI application. So cheese and onion, we're going to have beef and onion. Prawn cocktail, bosh. So there's all our crisp flavours. We're going to now add something else. Bags sold. So 65, we want 12 because no one likes ready salted. 58, 28, and 41. Bosh. So apologies, I keep saying bosh. Right. So this is the minimum amount of data we're going to work off, but it's going to give us something to start off with. So we're going to save this as, and I'm going to save this in the same folder as our Power BI file. I'm going to do that just because it's going to be easier that it's all in one place. You don't have to, you can save it somewhere else, but if it's all in one place, I think it's just a little bit easier to follow. You're less likely to lose things and stuff like that. So we're going to switch back to the Power BI desktop application, and now we're going to connect to that data. So we've got a section over here called fields, and right now it says you haven't got any data. Click get data. So just to give you another bit of a run through of what you can see on the page here. So here are all the visuals, so this is all the fancy stuff you can add. Filters I'll go through either later on in this or in another video. This is going to be your page, or what will become your page, and then there's some other options at the top and at the side, but for now we're just going to basically add in, we're going to connect to that data set. So we click on get data, and it's going to bring up a window. Now I'm going through this with the example that I've got. If you want to connect to a different data set, you can. Again, I'll go through this in different videos as to how you connect to like an Excel document, how you use a folder, access database, and all that sort of good stuff. For now, though, we're just interested in that text file or the CSV file. Excuse me. To give you an idea of how basic that is, let me just documents, and we go to desktop, and we go to tutorial 1. So this, you can see the file type, because I don't have Excel installed, it doesn't recognize what application it should use to open it. So I'm going to open it with Notepad, and this is how that data is stored. So it's just comma separated. So if you wanted to, you could create that set of data in Notepad. So for the purposes of this, we're going to connect to that. So we click on text CSV, we click on OK. It's going to open up wherever we've last accessed. So for now, I've got this is on my desktop, this is in tutorial 1 folder, and it's this crisps file. If it doesn't appear, it might be because it's a different file type. So I've used the CSV file, text, whichever, but again, depending on what you select as your import data type will determine whether it shows or not. So we've got that selected, we're going to click open, and then what this is going to do is it's going to basically get that information from that file and then bring it in and then let us inspect it. So right now this is how it looks. So you can see here this looks very much in line with the data set that I've put together. So if we're happy with that, we can just click load. If there's any manipulation needed, so if you've got things that are dates but they don't look like dates or things like that, we can do transform data. We'll go through that in another video, but for now we're happy and we're going to just click load. And what we should see is things will chug away, chug, 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 and we should see this new data source here up in the fields section, and also when we expand on it, it'll give us the different columns that we've got. Now if you're again, I'm treating this as for non-technical people. If you struggle to remember the difference between columns and rows, so for me columns are upright, so Roman columns go from top to bottom, and rows I think of as cinema, so when you go to the cinema you move across a row. So you're across a row and your columns go up and down. So you can see here we've got bags sold and we've got crisps. Did I call it just crisps? Yeah, I didn't call it crisp flavour. So we're going to add a visual and we're going to represent that data visually. I'd like to have a fun fact about, I want to say it was Florence Nightingale inventing the pie chart. It was somebody, I'm going to have got that wrong, people are going to think I'm a wally, but hey ho. So we click somewhere on the page we don't double click because that's going to bring that up. We're not interested in that. So we click somewhere on the page. We don't want anything selected. And we're going to click a visual. So we click donut pie chart. A little preview of that pie chart will appear. We can make it bigger by dragging the little handles on the side. But right now there's nothing in there. It's not of any use to anybody. So we're going to add some data to it. So we're going to add, we want legend as crisps, and we're going to do the values of bags sold. So you can see now it's populated that with the percentage. So pie charts are really good for showing a percentage. So of the total crisps sold, 31.86% of them were salt and vinegar. And again, we've got our little key at the side. Now we're going to do some. We're going to change the visuals on this because salt and vinegar is never pink. So we're going to go up to the formatting tool here. We're going to click on that. We're going to click on. I think it's this one. Is it this one? No. General. Again, as you can probably see, I'm no expert. There we go. So I'm trying to do all this in one take, so I'm not an expert. I'm not chopping and changing, but again, it gives you an idea as to the level that I'm at. I'm not, like I say, I'm sort of learning this, and I'm just sort of trying to share my knowledge and my sort of progression as I go. So salt and vinegar, that's a bit green. That's too green. That is. That'll do. So salt and vinegar is green. That's still horrible, that. But as you can see, that'll do. So as you can see, when you click on the little field, it will let you pick the colour. Now cheese and onion depends on which camp you fall in. Cheese and onion's blue. Prawn cocktail is pink. Beef and onion is, go with that. Ready salted is red. There we go. So we now have more accurately reflected flavours to colours. There's a lot that we can do with the visualizations, and we can sort of format them. I'm going to click back on this, back to the visuals. Add data to the visuals. Each one of these I'll go through in more detail in later videos, but basically I just want to show you how you can sort of create a dashboard. So now we're happy we've got our crisp information. We're going to click off, and it's going to change focus away from that, and let's add another one. So we're going to go in here now. If you're not familiar with Power BI, this is where it gets clever. The more visuals you get, the more the fancier it is, really. So we're going to do the same sort of thing for this bar chart. So we're going to go in, and we're going to click on, I can never remember which way around it is, count of crisps, yes, no, we want crisp flavours, we want that as number of bags sold, we want crisps as our x-axis. So you can see there was 65 bags of salt and vinegar, 58 cheese and onion. Now, if you click on one of these sort of elements within a visual, so we're going to click on prawn cocktail, it filters down all of the other visuals on that page. So if obviously for now we've just got crisps, we have just 2 columns. You can get really fancy with this. I'm going to also show you how to add a filter. So a filter or a slicer is a way that you can filter the set of information that's on the page. So to do that, make sure you've got nothing selected, and click somewhere on the page. Just add in slicer. So you can see here it's just added this little visual sort of placeholder, and we've got this field box here, which is ready for a data type or a bit of information to come from our data source. So we're going to drag in crisps, and we're going to this is going to let us pick which crisp flavour we're interested in. So we want cheese and onion, and this will filter all of the visuals on that page. Now, clicking on a specific element on a visual highlights all the other the appropriate elements on each of the other visuals on that page, but it doesn't filter it. But the slicer does. So like I say, we can click on ready salted, and it will show just ready salted. Now, if you've got two columns in your data set and you've just got this gets boring very quickly. So we're going to add more data. So we go back to our CSV and we're going to do price per bag. So I'll apologise now, I've not bought single packs of crisps for a long time, so this is probably going to make me look like I'm some sort of baller, but you'll get the idea. So 51 beef is expensive, 70 pence a bag of beef. There we go. So we now have, we've added that to our data set, and we can click on File and Save. Now, depending on the type of data that you're using, or sorry, the type of data source, if you're using an Excel, what I found was just refresh will basically add that into your data source here. Now, a CSV it doesn't seem to, but that's not a problem because we're going to go through how we add that. So we're going to go into Transform Data, and I did this about 15 minutes ago, and I've absolutely forgotten. So we go into this Applied Steps. So what this is, so this is basically the bit that sits between Power BI and your data source. So this lets you pull in extra data. This is where it all sort of comes from. This is the little bit of a tool within Power BI that lets you pull in that data. This applied steps, so this query settings bit, this bit at the side here, this is really important because this is basically the steps that the application takes to get access to that data. So first of all it goes source, then it does promoted headers, then it does this. I'm not going to lie, I don't know what most of that means. However, what I found earlier on is if we go in here and we click on column 3, it will pull in the extra column. For the purposes of this, that's all you need to worry about. So if you've added an extra column in, set the extra column in the source, close and apply, and as if by magic, with a little cheeky refresh, well, it doesn't even need to do the refresh, our price per bag has now been included. So we now have 3 bits of information that we can generate reports on. So we've got the number of bags sold, the flavour of crisp, and the price per bag. Now, if we click on price per bag, and we click on, so what we're going to do, let's add in a table just so you can see the raw data. You can see the raw data if you click on here, but from a visual point of view, if you want doing some testing, sometimes it's useful to see it on the page. So you can click on the table, and then you can basically add in the columns that you want. So we want crisps, we want bags sold, we want price per bag. So this is what you get. Now, because this is a table, it will sum up anything that it thinks it can sum up. Now, it's not summed up price per bag. This is probably, I don't know this because I'm winging it, and this is all sort of whilst I'm sort of running through it with you in the video. I think this is because of the data type. So what we're going to do is we're going to check that. So we click on it, and we want to go into column tools. So this is going to tell us what the column name is. Now, first of all, it keeps annoying me that crisps is called just crisp. So we're going to rename that, and we're going to do flavour of crisp, because that's a more descriptive label for that data type. It's a text, we're happy with that. I'm not going to cover too much of this in any detail at this point, but price per bag is a problem because right now it shows it as a text, so we're not getting a sum at the end, but I want this to I want a total of it, so I change the type from text to yes, we want to continue. Bosh. So now that's recording that as a decimal number. Lovely. We can do other things such as change the type. So I think some of these, there we go, currency, because it's a monetary amount. We probably have something here that lets us set it as... Oh, Christ, what have I clicked on there? I've clicked on the wrong thing. Oh, have I done? Oh, bloody 2. Come on, John. Right, there we go. 2 decimal places. We don't want a $sign because we are in the UK, so we're going to set pound. So, right, we've now formatted that column correctly. So these are pounds. Now, even though, make sure you save, even though the original data source is just a decimal, so 0.52, we've managed to format it into something that is much more accurate. Now we can start messing around with more data. So we can do things like, let's have a look at money. So let's chuck another graph in here. Let's put a line chart in this time. So again, I've made sure that I've got nothing selected. I've clicked on line chart. Let's click on that. So what we want is, we want that one. No, we want that in here. And we want price per bag here. So you can see that this is giving us now a graphical representation of the price per bag. Now, because I may want to see, so I'm going to move some of these out of the way, I may want to see what the actual revenue is based on the price per bag. So 28 times 7, my maths is not up to working that out. So we may want to put in an extra column, not into this, but a calculated column, which is going to give us our total sales per flavour of crisp. So this is where we start getting a little bit more fancy. So we're going to click on data, and one of these, this one, new column, there we go, new column. So we click on new column, it's going to ask us what we want. Now this is, I think this is DAX is the wording for it, but this is how the calculations are done. So we're going to call this sales cash sales. Let's go with that. So now we have to do a calculation on this. So we're going to do crisps, and if you start typing, it's going to populate, and we want bags sold. So it's loaded that in, and we want to time those number of bags sold by price per bag. So it's going to be crisps price per bag. There are far more complicated calculations you could do, but for the purposes of this works. So once we're happy, we click our little check, and you can see that this is then calculated it here, but the formatting isn't what we want again. So we're going to change this. We're happy with decimal. Our format is going to be currency. We're going to set it to English pounds again, and you can see here we've got some actual values we can use. We don't have to save anything, we just switch over to the tab, the reports tab, and here we can start doing some more exciting stuff with revenue. So we can now get our, let's go with, in fact let's chuck another pie chart in. So another pie chart, and what we're going to do is we're going to do cash sales, sum of cash sales, and we're going to do this by flavour of crisp. And here it's going to give us the breakdown of not just the portion, the quantity of bags sold. So you can see here that salt and vinegar was the highest number of bags sold. We sold 65, which is 31.8%, but it only made up 29.29% of our total revenue from crisps. I'm conscious I've been waffling now for 25 minutes, and I'm trying to keep these videos nice and tight and sort of easy to follow. But, and again, this isn't the most beautiful dashboard you'll ever see, but I'm hoping it'll give you an idea as to what you can do. we click on cheese and onion, and it is going to filter all of these data sets down to the information for cheese and onion. So you can see that of cheese and onion, we sold £29.58 worth, 58 bags at 51 pence a bag. Obviously, this is 100% of cheese and onion crisps, flavour crisps, were 100%. We can see this on our other charts here. If we want to do a comparison, we can do control. So if you click on the slicer, you can click, and if you hold control, you can select multiple values. So you can see of beef and cheese and onion, 60% of those sales were from cheese and onion. 39% were from beef. From a revenue point of view, but from an actual unit point of view, 32 were beef and 58 were cheese and onion. Now, this is so basic. I'm really sorry for anyone who sort of sat through this and asked, is that it? I just wanted this to be some way that you could go through, get some data yourself, not having to populate it, not having to use data that you don't that you don't understand, and that you can basically generate a Power BI report off the back of that. Now, what you do from here, there's some extra things like publishing it. So publishing it, you do need certain accounts and things to publish. I'll go through these in different videos. I'll go through things, the different visuals in other videos, connecting different data sets, connecting data sets together, and other things like that. But this should give you, I'm hoping, an idea of how you can start off from scratch with Power BI.